Hello YouTube. I'm just sitting here at the end of the evening, having viewed many videos over the course of the last few weeks, and I have a few subjects that I wish to discuss, such as IAMS, the Institute of Advanced Motorists, and I would like to do such a thing, but apparently I've got to wait around about 2 years after passing my direct access before I can go off and do the IAMS. So I won't be doing that one, unfortunately. Although I've made inquiries locally, and because I intended to volunteer for riding the likes of the blood bikes. I quite fancy being given a large capacity machine to ride around it on call. It's not any show for me because I don't drink, and to be able to just zoom off to the local hospital and transport whatever to one of the other hospitals around the county, or across the country to the other hospitals on the other side of the county. Late at night the roads are clear, so mega fun can be had. The other thing that completely different subject, I also watched Del Boy's Garage and his for modification to the nose of the Kawasaki. Whatever floats your boat, mate, that's all I can say. He's fashioned up something out of a tank blank. Not a couple of words to come out with when you haven't got your teeth in, but tank blank. And it does look better than the slidey square boxy thing that he did fabricate, but I would just like to point out that he could have saved himself an awful lot of work, and to my mind the modern Kawasaki's all appear to have a version of what he's fashioned out of a tank, and interesting, but different. That's about all I can say on that subject. And another video that I watched tonight concerns crash hats, or bone domes as they used to get referred to in my youth, and whether they should be compulsory or not. And my brain doesn't work very well at the best of times. Were I to come off minus a helmet, then there is a distinct possibility that I would end up with even more mental issues than I presently suffer. So when I go out, I always wear my gear. crash helmet. I don't wish to try riding without a crash helmet. If I did, I know of several places that are devoid of the boys in blue, where I could partake of such an activity without fear of repercussions, and I just don't want to do it. On another note, my KTM has gone in for its, or it's going in for its MOT, I should say, next Wednesday. I don't think it'll have any issues over getting a pass, but it expired about 2-3 hours ago, unfortunately. Another video that I watched this evening was Southern Fried Tom. One of his super short observations. He came up behind a car full of he came up behind a car with 2 women on board, and shouted through the window that if they were going to drive around smoking pot, then he'd prefer it if they didn't cut him up. Well, whether they were smoking pot or not, it's irrelevant. I would just prefer not to be cut up by anybody. And my final video of the evening was Smo, who appears to be out in America at the moment, and I knew there was a reason I didn't particularly like Americans, and one of them is acting like well, I don't know what he's acting like. Setting fire to a box full of crickets, and jumping around with a sword and what appears to be a very large ice axe type device, and screaming like a 2-year-old because one's come near him whilst they set to and kill them all, which I didn't find very appealing. And I would have thought better of Smo, but hey ho. It's the same for in all walks of life, that be it RC models, they're all complaining that drones shouldn't be allowed, and I don't say the issue with drones as long as you're sensible with them, but you get the odd idiot that insists on flying them near airports. Not so many years ago it was laser pens, we're all trying to blind pilots and things with them, and well, as I say, there's always the minority that attempts to destroy things for that other people enjoy doing. Not that I'm into laser pens, I'm just into radio controlled models, and I've got a few, most of which are decrepit, but I have the ability. I can rebuild it, as they used to say about I think it was a Bionic Man. Show me age again. Another video that I watched this evening was ear protection from Missenden Flyer, on my brother's wife, ex-wife now, but she was completely deaf, used to have a hearing aid. Fantastically amusing tales that I can tell about that, but I won't, because I might be construed as what's the word? Something against discriminating against the disabled. But I'm not trying to discriminate about them. On account of I'm disabled. She was disabled with hearing loss, and unfortunately I never did learn to use sign language. And whenever she came home from work, the hearing aid came out straight away because it was uncomfortable to wear for long periods, and she was forever losing it in all sorts of places, or you'd be sitting watching television with subtitles for the deaf, and you'd suddenly hear and when you look round it was brother's now ex-wife had got an itch in her ear, and the minute a hand went near the ear it would start causing feedback from the hearing aid, and that's why one of the reasons why she used to whip the damn thing out 5 minutes after she got in from work. But yes, I found one in the back of one of my taxis because it drove me mental for an hour or so. It had fallen out of somebody's ear and finished up underneath one of the rubber mats that cars come with to protect the carpets, and it was just under the corner, and as people were shuffling their feet and what have you, getting in and out the car, would set off this whistling noise. And because most of the passengers had been drinking, they didn't notice such things, but I was sat there being driven absolutely sodding demented by this feedback whistle. Wasn't very loud, it was just, as you know with feedback, yeah, you can hear it at 5,000 feet away, regardless of how loud it is. And I say for an hour or two before I found this screech till halt in a bus stop somewhere around the county, having dropped my passengers off, and started ripping the mats and what have you out of the car and feebling around with my hand in the dark, and thinking, well, where the hell's this sudden feedback coming from? And eventually I discovered it was one of these micro hearing aids that somebody had lost, and it had wedged itself right under the front of the mat and then rolled under the one of the metal rails that the front seat runs up and down on. And I say, every time anybody moved, what the hell's that? Oh well, the joys of being an ex-taxi driver. One of my happier memories of the time. Anyway, I think that's enough for now, Mr. and Mrs. Jojo. I shall depart now, and I shall be back at some point in the fairly near future, I think. I've got umpteen 100 gigabytes of video footage that all needs edited up and turned into videos and things. So right safe, and I shall be back within a day or two.